The second phone was in his gym bag. A cheap Android, the kind you buy at a gas station with cash. I wasn't looking for it. I was looking for his wallet, which he'd asked me to grab while he was in the shower. My hand touched something hard and plastic underneath his sweaty workout clothes, and I pulled it out instinctively. The screen lit up. And there she was. My sister, Layla. In our bed. In my silk pillowcase, the one with the little embroidery that our grandmother made. Her hair was spread across my pillow, her face relaxed in sleep, her bare shoulder visible above the edge of my duvet. And on the nightstand beside her, half in frame, was his watch. The expensive one I'd saved for 6 months to buy him for our 5th anniversary. The lock screen didn't have a passcode. It didn't need one, I guess, because I was never supposed to find it. I swiped. The home screen was full of apps I didn't recognize: encrypted messaging, hidden photo vaults, a calculator that was probably a front for something worse. But the Photos app was open, thumbnails visible. Hundreds of them, all her. All in my house. In my kitchen, wearing my robe. In my bathroom, using my towels. In my bed, on my pillows, with my husband. I stood there in the hallway, holding the phone, listening to the shower run. Water, then humming. He was humming. Happy, relaxed, content. While my sister slept in his phone, in our bed, in 1,000 photos I was never supposed to see. My first instinct was to scream. To burst into the bathroom, throw the phone at his head, watch him slip on the soap and crack his skull open. But something stopped me. Something colder, more patient. I wanted to understand. I wanted to know how long, how deep, how much of my life was a lie. I took the phone to my car. I sat in the driveway, engine off, scrolling through 2 years of my sister's betrayal. 2 years. Photos dated back to before our wedding. Before she was my maid of honor. Before she stood next to me at the altar, crying happy tears, handing me tissues when I got emotional during the vows. She was already sleeping with him then. She was already in my bed, on my pillows, while I planned our honeymoon. There were videos too. I only watched one. It was enough. In it, she was laughing, saying his name in that way she had, the way that always made me think she was just naturally flirtatious. Marky, she called him. No one called him that. No one but her, apparently. I put the phone back in his gym bag. I went inside. I told him I couldn't find his wallet. He kissed my forehead, said it was fine, he'd find it later. I kissed him back, I smiled. I played the role of the oblivious wife while my blood boiled beneath my skin. That was 3 months ago. 3 months of watching, waiting, gathering evidence. 3 months of pretending I didn't know while they carried on their affair right under my nose. 3 months of building the most perfect, most devastating revenge I could imagine. I learned their patterns. Tuesday nights were his late meetings. Thursday afternoons were her yoga classes. They used my house because it was convenient, because I was at work, because they were too arrogant to think I'd ever find out. I installed cameras. Not obvious ones, tiny, hidden cameras in the bedroom, the bathroom, the living room. I watched them together. I watched her wear my clothes, use my things, laugh in my space. I felt nothing. Just a cold, crystalline focus. I collected everything. The photos from his phone. The videos from my cameras. Their tech side cloned his SIM card while he slept, forwarded every message to a secure folder. The dates, the times, the dirty talk, the plans. They were meticulous, almost professional in their deceit. They disgust me sometimes. How I was so clueless. How I deserved better, but they were going to keep taking anyway. How, when they finally told me, they hoped I'd understand that love is complicated. Love, they called it love. I waited until the perfect moment. My birthday. Mark had planned a romantic dinner at home, candlelight, wine, the works. Layla was supposed to come by afterward for cake. A family celebration. Sweet, innocent, normal. What they didn't know was that I'd invited a few extra guests. Our parents. Both sets. Mark's mother, who'd always adored me. My father, who'd never fully trusted Mark. Layla's ex-boyfriend, the one she cheated on with Mark in the first place, a detail I'd only recently discovered. And a lawyer. A very expensive, very ruthless divorce attorney I'd retained the week after I found the phone. They arrived at 7, Mark and me, all smiles. He'd cooked my favourite meal, or rather, he'd ordered it from my favourite restaurant and pretended to cook. I didn't care. I played along. I wore the dress he liked, the one that matched the photo of Layla wearing it 3 weeks ago. He didn't notice. He never noticed. At 8, the doorbell rang. Layla, with a bakery box and a bright smile. Happy birthday, big sis. She hugged me, tight and warm, and I hugged her back, just as tight, just as warm. Behind her, in the driveway, cars were pulling up. My father's sedan. Mark's mother's SUV. Layla's ex on a motorcycle. The lawyer in a black town car. What's all this? Mark asked, peering out the window. Surprise, I said. I thought we should celebrate together. They filed in, confused but polite. Cake was served. Wine was poured. Small talk filled the room. And then, when everyone was settled, I stood up and tapped my glass. Thank you all for coming, I said. I have a little presentation. Something I've been working on for a while. I pulled out my laptop, connected it to the TV. Mark looked confused. Layla looked nervous. Everyone else just looked curious. Mark and Layla have been having an affair, I said. For 2 years. In this house. In our bed. While I was at work, while I was planning our future, while Layla was pretending to be my best friend and sister. Mark stood up, his face pale. What the hell are you doing? I'm showing everyone the truth. I hit play. The first video was from his phone, the lock screen photo, blown up on the big screen. Layla in my bed, on my pillow, unmistakable. Gasps around the room. Mark's mother put her hand over her mouth. My father went still as stone. I played another. A video from my hidden camera, then together, in our bedroom, laughing about how stupid I was. Their voices clear, their faces visible, their betrayal undeniable. Layla was crying now, begging me to stop. Mark was yelling, grabbing for the laptop. My father stood up and put himself between them. Layla's ex was filming everything on his phone, a grim smile on his face. I played more .texts, .dates, .plans. The conversation where they discussed how to break it to me gently. The part where Layla suggested they wait until after the holidays so she could enjoy Christmas with the family one last time. When it was over, the room was silent. Then my father spoke, "Get out." His voice was low, shaking. Both of you. Get out of this house and don't come back. Mark tried to argue, tried to explain, tried to blame me for invading his privacy. The lawyer handed him a stack of papers. Divorce papers. Already filed, already served, already moving forward. He'd be out by the end of the week, and he'd be lucky to keep his car. Layla ran. Just ran out the door, into the night, leaving her purse, her phone, her dignity scattered across my living room floor. The aftermath was swift. The divorce was finalized in 6 months. I got the house, the cars, the retirement accounts, and a restraining order that kept him 300 feet away at all times. My sister was disowned by my father, by our extended family, by everyone who'd seen the videos. She moved to another state, changed her name, tried to disappear. It didn't work. The internet is forever, and her face was all over it. Mark's mother called me a month later, apologizing, crying, saying she'd had no idea. I believed her. She was a good woman, trapped between loving her son and knowing what he'd done. We still have lunch sometimes. She's the grandmother my children will never have from his side. Layla's ex sent me the video he took that night. I've never watched it. I don't need to. I was there. Now, a year later, I live in the same house. I sleep in the same bed. I use the same pillows, the ones with the embroidery. They don't haunt me anymore. They're just fabric. Just things. The ghosts are gone. I replaced the mattress, though. Some things you can't unsee. I think about them sometimes. Mark in his tiny apartment, paying alimony he can barely afford. Layla in another state, working a job she hates, known only as the sister who slept with her brother-in-law. They had each other for a while. They had their secret, their stolen moments, their smug certainty that they were smarter than me. They weren't smarter. They were just more practiced at lying. And I was more practiced at waiting. The second phone is in a drawer somewhere. I keep it as a reminder. Not of betrayal, of survival. Of the moment I chose to be patient instead of reactive, to build a case instead of a scene, to win instead of just fight. My sister's face on his lock screen. That image will never leave me. But neither will the image of her running out the door, purse forgotten, dignity in tatters. Neither will the sound of Mark's mother gasping, my father's voice telling them to leave, the satisfying thud of divorce papers hitting the table. They thought they were clever. They thought they were safe. They thought I was blind. I wasn't blind. I was just waiting for the right moment to open my eyes, and when I did, they were the ones who couldn't see it coming.